For the pattern making, you will need a pen or pencil, a ruler, and scissors. And I'm just measuring out right now my first petal. I am cutting the petal pattern out of a rectangle first, and then I'll fold it in half and then do half the shape so that way they're even on both sides. Now I'm doing the other pattern for the flower. It's the larger size, and then the last one will be the smaller size pattern of petal. And when you do use the other petal pattern to trace the folded piece of paper, make sure that the fold is on the inside. So now we have a small, medium, and large petal pattern for the organdy flower. I am marking the perpendicular lines for the pattern so I can do the bias line for the grain line that you will place on the material of the organdy. So you'll line up the perpendicular lines to get the 45-degree angle. So the petal on the outside is cut on the bias, so it's easier to stretch the petal and shape it. That is the grain line mark, so you use that to go along with the grain line on the fabric. Right now, I am putting the pattern on the organdy material. Organdy is 100% cotton, and this one's also a stiffened organdy. For this leaf pattern, or I'm sorry, the petal pattern, I will cut out 4 of each size of the petal. So small, medium, and large sizes, and there will be 4 of each for this flower. For the stem of the flower, I cut 1 inch, folded in half, a piece of fabric, and I used the ruler to measure 1 inch on the fold. Cutting on the 1 inch line that I made so I could use this piece as the stem for my flower. I will fold it and then fold it again and then turn it into a knot. And the knot will be the center part of the flower. Now I'm shaping each petal. I will pull it side to side, and then I will use the knife, the butter knife, on the softer side and curl the top petal and both sides in the same direction, curling it over the knife and using my thumb. The edges curled more, so I just went back and redid the edges of a few of the petals. And thread here, my needle here is a little bit too thick, but you could use a smaller needle. Usually like a size 7 would be good for this kind of sewing, so it's not as fat. And so now I will place the bottom edge, the flat edge of the petal, around the knot of the piece of bias strip that we made. And I will just go through the petal just a couple of times with the thread. And then I'll place the other petal right across from the first one, so then they're face to face. Every time I put a petal, I'll just put just a couple of stitches to keep it in place. The next petal will go on the outside of the 2 edges of the first 2 petals, and so on. You'll follow the same pattern with the rest of the petals. Sometimes the thread will get caught in the stem, but it's okay. You can just leave it and continue on adding each petal just stitching it a couple of times through the middle. And you also have to make sure with these petals that they're level to each other, because eventually if you don't watch it, the petals will start climbing down the stem and you don't want that. So just make sure that the bottom edge of each petal is level with each other. Did forget to mention that you want to start out with smaller petals first and then work on to adding the medium size and then the larger size petals. Like to fluff each petal, sometimes just every other one, just to make sure the way it's sitting there is okay. Also to make sure they don't get bunched up. Sometimes that'll happen. Just checking on it every time or every other time I've put a petal on. After this petal, then you just put a couple extra stitches in it and you're finished. Tie a knot on just to tie it off at the back of the flower, and then you're finished.